Hello, today I have with me Steven Crainford. Steven is a good friend of mine from Toronto. I know him for a few years now through the Artist Network. Steven is a photographer. Hi, Steven.
Hi, Moshe. How are you today?
Good, I'm great. I want you to start with telling me about yourself, about your background. So go ahead.
Okay, well, I've been a professional photographer for the last 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
Although I did start taking photographs when I was a teenager. I got my first camera with the money I earned delivering for the local drugstore.
Mm-hmm.
And I took pictures for a few years, but then marriage and kids and other work gets in the way.
Mm-hmm.
But then I picked it up again in the late 1980s, and I went to Ryerson University here in Toronto and did a series of courses called a Certificate in Still Photography Studies.
Mm-hmm.
And that got me really hyped up again about doing it. And one of the courses there, I was taking large format photography, and I discovered the view camera and absolutely fell in love. This was about 1990. So from then until 2003, that's all I was doing, was using a large format view camera, photographing in black and white. And I had my own darkroom, and I was making silver prints. But then 2003 came along, and I got my first significant digital camera, and the view camera was never used in the field again. So I made the full switch in 2003 to digital, both capturing and doing all my own printing here in the studio. The professional part really began, I was part of a group, an artist group in North York, and because they knew I was a photographer, they began asking me, the other artists began asking me to take photographs, slides of their artwork for submissions to juries and shows and all that sort of stuff.
Okay.
So I began doing it that way, and then at the same time beginning to exhibit and sell my own work. My first professional show was the Toronto Outdoor Art Exhibition at City Hall in 1997, and I've just been carrying on since then.
Excellent. You transitioned recently from more realistic landscape, etc., to more abstract.
Yeah, that's been a change. Really, it began actually at an art show a year ago, last August. And an artist across the aisle from me did what Nancy Oakes was her name. She does what are called walking drawings, where she has a pen and ink and a little pad, and she walks down the street and she does drawings while she's walking. So they're very abstract and mixed up and really very interesting. So I began thinking, well, what about taking pictures, photographs while walking?
Oh, I see.
So then I went and experimented. And that sort of pushed me more into more pure abstraction. I've always enjoyed finding abstract images, whether in nature or in the constructed world. But this was a project going much more into abstract. And in fact, if you look behind me over this shoulder here,
yes,
there is one of my pieces called Walking Abstracts. And that has been a project that's been a lot of pleasure, a lot of fun to do, and it's really caught on. I've sold a number of different pieces from that series. And one of the reasons for going more to abstract that certainly pushed me in that direction was I was getting tired of comments at the shows that I would exhibit at, looking at my work and saying, oh, I have a picture just like that. You see, because everybody has a camera these days, and everybody sees it and thinks they can do it. So going to the abstract, nobody has made the comment, gee, I have a picture just like that, because they don't. So I'm freed of that little yoke around my neck.
How do you define success for you? What is artistic success?
Okay, since I knew you were going to be asking this, I've been thinking about this, and it's not an easy question to answer. I mean, there's the straightforward standard answer. Okay, people love my work. I'm in demand. Galleries want me. I sell lots of pictures, and I make a lot of money. well, I'm not there yet. I'm moving, hopefully, in that direction.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a pretty standard view of success. But one of the things I was thinking about was that when I have an idea for a set of images, a series of images, like, let me give you an example. In 2004, we went to France, and we went to Provence.
Mm-hmm.
I went with one idea, is I wanted to collect a whole series of images of food and things in the French farmers' markets in the villages in Provence.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
With the view to coming home, making small prints
Mm-hmm.
that people could buy to hang in those little wall areas in kitchens to just give a little splash of color.
Yeah.
So I did the pictures, I made the prints, and lo and behold, people actually bought them.
Mm-hmm.
And I sold a lot of them over several years in different forms, whether it be framed on paper or little pictures on canvas.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, that was the sense of artistic success, because the idea that I had
Mm-hmm.
translated into people liking and wanting the images that I made.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing happens with this abstract series.
Mm-hmm.
I came up with the idea. I had no idea whether it would fly.
Mm-hmm.
And here, as opposed to little pictures that were maybe 4 by 6 or 6 by 6, I'm making 30 by 40 inch canvases and putting them out to view. And again, people cottoned on to them. And at the Toronto Outdoor Show this past year, I sold a number of them.
Mm-hmm.
So again, that to my mind is success. It's my concept realized into a piece of art and people want to buy it. I've been setting aside the money. The money's always nice, but for me also, success is making people happy.
Mm-hmm.
I think my art, or well, maybe not art in general, but my art, I want it to be happy and light and make people feel good and make people smile when they look at it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And these pictures certainly seem to do that.
Yeah, I remember when my wife saw your abstracts first time, she was sure they were paintings.
Well, I do that all the time, actually.
Yeah, they were stretched. Yeah, they were stretched.
What is this?
Mm-hmm.
And actually, now you mention it, that's another little part of success,
Mm-hmm.
is that when I have gone beyond the edges of traditional photography,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm sort of, it's photographic, but it's beyond straight photography, and it looks like something else.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I think that's success also.
Number one tip that you would like to share with our viewers?
Well, I can really only speak as a photographer and speaking to other people who take photographs.
Right.
And I think the one tip is that it's really important to use the most valuable photographic tool you'll ever have, and that's your brain.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to use your brain first,
Mm-hmm.
because if you don't have an idea that you're trying to express, what you take may well just be snapshots.
Yeah.
As another photographer who does a lot of teaching, Michael Reichman, says, he asks people, okay, what is this photograph about? Like, what are you trying to say? What are you trying to express?
Mm-hmm.
And commonly, mostly probably, you need to have that in mind before you set up your camera and make your exposure.
Mm-hmm.
What am I trying to do? Am I trying to show color or light or form or texture?
Mm-hmm.
Am I trying to capture a scene of people on the street and express an idea that way? All of those things need to be conceptualized in your head before you ever pick up the camera.
Mm.
I mean, these days the cameras are so technically advanced
Right.
that you really don't need to know an awful lot to get a good picture.
Mm-hmm.
It's different than back in the days of black and white and large format, where you had to calculate the exposure and calculate the development, and there was a lot of calculation went on before you actually made the exposure. Now, it's pretty much all automatic, so the thought behind it is really, really important, even more so than before.
Very good. That was very nice and enlightening. And I want to wish you lots of success, continued success. And thank you so much for your time. It was great.
My pleasure. I enjoyed talking to you, Moshe.
Take care.
Take care. See you soon.